How's your Saturday
All
going,
right, it
Tim?
looks like we are live. Can you hear me, guys? You all there?
Yes, sir. Good to
All
go.
right, what's up, boys? Welcome to week 3 of Tribeoholics. We're hoping for a good show today.
I'm here,
We're missing
Christian.
out on our usual co-host, Skinner and Ben, but we've got two nice fill-ins here, and I'm going to go ahead and throw it to these guys to introduce themselves. Let's start with you, Tim.
What's up? Good morning, guys. Happy game day. I'm excited to be a part of the show today. A buddy of Christian's from way back in the day, elementary school, high school, roommates in college. So I've known him a long time. Lucky enough that he asked me to fill in on the show for Skinner today. So happy to be here. FSU 2020 grad. And, I think I'd like to think that I'm more of a positive fan, so I'm looking forward to today. I think we're going to have a good showing. Feeling good about it. Happy to be here.
All right, and our other substitute co-host here, we have Andrew Levine. Andrew, we got you there, buddy. Can you hear us? We might be having some problems with Andrew's internet here.
Let's go. Yeah, I can hear you. My internet looks to be a little shaky. I'm excited to be here. I'm not sipping on a beer. I'm sipping on a LaCroix seltzer. Ready for a full slate of college games with the thankfully the Noles game kind of sandwiched in there. I really didn't want it to kind of stand alone as a night game. I'm excited that UF game is going to kind of block it a little bit.
All right, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to that one too. So, Ruxin, you gave us a hint of what you're sipping on there. I've got my football here, just like last week, sipping on a Corona to start the morning. Probably nurse this one through the show because I've got a lot to do today. What about you, Timmy?
I am sipping on a good old-fashioned Modelo, joining you with the Mexican cervezas this morning.
Beautiful. I love it.
Got a six-pack here, so seeing how the show goes, let's see if I can finish the whole thing, huh?
All right, yeah, there were some rumors that Tim was going to shotgun on the show for us. We'll see if that comes to fruition here.
Hey, I had a friend in college. I remember I used to set up tailgates with every game day morning, and it would be about 6 in the morning. We'd have a night game. It'd be about 6 in the morning. He'd come around banging on everyone's door, and he would just get in everyone's face. Where is your intensity? Wake up! It's game day. And every single morning we wake up. It could have been 6 in the morning, and he'd get everybody up and get everybody to do a shotgun in the morning. Fire everybody up for the day. So I got a little excited to maybe bring that tradition back a little bit today.
Yeah, and Lord knows we had to wake up at 6 a.m. plenty with all the noon games we had in our time. But
right.
is that the viral video that comes around every year of the guy banging on the doors?
No, that's he was in a different house. I forget who that was.
Okay.
But
gotcha.
Similar energy.
Yeah,
similar energy.
Same deal. Good stuff.
Oh yeah.
All right, boys. Well, let's jump into the part of the show that, based on these last few weeks, we might just want to get out of the way. Let's talk about this FSU versus Wake Forest game today. Obviously, it's been a tough run of it. I'm so thankful I wasn't here last week to have to talk about that JSU game. But we're back. The Noles were looking for a bounce back. Not a lot of people think that they're going to have one. But let's jump right into this and talk about the season so far, what you guys' thoughts are, and this game today. So I'll throw it to you first, Andrew. What have been your biggest concerns? How did we get here to being 0-2? What do you think's gone wrong so far?
I mean, it's been a few things. I mean, if you look at both games, there's opportunities where the Noles we could be sitting here talking about a 2-0 football team going into a very important game against Wake. Unfortunately, it's the opposite, and we're sitting here 0-2. So, it's really tough to kind of interpret, at least on my end, what the issues are, because the Notre Dame game, the defense looked outstanding. Obviously, there were. Am I back? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you. It looks like we've got some connection problems with Andrew there. What are your thoughts, Tim? What do you think is going on with this team so far? What have you liked and disliked, and how did we get to 0-2?
Well, kind of like Andrew was saying, we're very close to being a 2-0 team. I think it was Norvell last week made a comment saying, we're one play away in each one of those games from being 2-0. Completely different story. I was lucky enough to be at that Notre Dame game a few weeks ago, and that was, that felt like everything that a turning point in a program, like that felt like a turning point. That felt like, hey, the energy that we had in that stadium, the way that we played against the top 10 team, the recruits that we had there, the positive opinion of the recruits afterwards. I mean, you look at what they're saying afterwards, where, all of them were, wow.
Buzzing.
Oh, they were buzzing. Everyone was pumped about that. So that, to me, I walked out of there, after shedding a tear in that overtime. I walked out of there with a smile on my face thinking, this is a good thing for our program. Of course, it would have been nice to get the dub, but that felt huge. Come the next week, I felt
you think that game led to what happened the next week? Do you think they got too confident after a loss?
Yeah. And we tried to get crafty with it. We tried to, running the 2 quarterback option. We had more talent on that field. Our third strings probably had more talent and physical ability on that field than that JSU team.
Yeah.
The fact that we didn't blow them out of the water means that we're not mentally prepared. We were trying to get cute, trying to get too crafty with what we're doing on the field. And, when you lose to a clearly inferior program, you beat yourself there. I mean, that's 100% our fault. We didn't get outplayed. We beat ourselves. So it was frustrating from week one, from where we were at on that high. Like, hey, we're right there. We're getting to the point now. We're Mike's got us. We're moving in the right direction. That might have been the worst loss in program history.
Well, you know what? Something that was often said after that Notre Dame close overtime loss. There you go. Something that everyone was saying was that in previous years, Florida State being down 18 would have never had the guts and the will to come back. They would have packed it in. But, they were a different team with a different culture, so they came back in that game. On a similar note, Florida State in recent years, after a loss like we just had to Jacksonville State, has really packed it in and let, bad losses affect them 2 weeks in a row and let those things kind of tumble. So I feel like today against Wake Forest is a chance for them to show the similar sort of comeback as they had, in a small scale in that Wake game. It'll be a big test of Norvell's culture. And, that's I feel like the biggest factor into winning this game, into avoiding 0-3. What about what do you all think? I'll throw it to you, Andrew, about more of the micro aspects, the matchup with Wake Forest. How do we avoid going 0-3? How do we beat them on the field today?
Okay, so I know Tim mentioned it that he's not a fan of the 2 quarterback system. I am a fan of the 2 quarterback system.
Okay.
I like Mackenzie Milton a lot. I really don't think he's going to make it through the full season. I really think that Jordan Travis is athletic enough that we have to find ways to use him. And so last week, going away from him so early and not coming back to him again when it was clear that we couldn't get things moving against Jacksonville State, I think was a mistake on Norvell's part. And so I think we need to see Jordan Travis get a little bit more involved, whether you throw it out to him on the wing and let him run it or some sort of double pass, something like that. Just find ways to get him involved, because even though he's not your number 1 quarterback and you think Milton's better, he is still one of the better athletes on the team. And you just have to be able to use him. On the defensive side of the ball, our defensive line is still good. And so they definitely need to make an impact, because Kalen DeLoach is going to be out the first half. So we definitely need a little bit of help for our linebackers. And then some of our coverage from the secondary in the Jacksonville State game was a little shaky. And so if the defensive line can get a push and wreak a little bit of havoc on a Wake Forest offense, then I think it gives us a little bit of a better chance there.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it, especially when you bring up the defensive line. I think that's where we win this game. I think, on both sides of the ball, we need to win the line of scrimmage. and we can. I mean, Wake is not an imposing team. They're not a team that's going to push you around if you're playing your best game. But I say that coming off of a loss where Florida State was pushed around on the line by Jacksonville State at times. So it's going to depend how they come out. I think Jermaine Johnson is an X factor here. I think DJ Lundy is an X factor here as he fills in for Deloach in that first half. But I think more than anything, more at a macro level with this team, they need to play mistake free. They need to not have stupid penalties, and they need to know where they're at. They can out physical Wake, they can outrun Wake. They should have the athletes to beat Wake. But what you get in Wake is a damn well coached team who's not going to have the stupid mistakes that we dealt with so far this season. So it's going to be a tall task, no doubt about it. But we're not going to dwell on this game too long. We're going to get into our gambling picks in a little bit here. But before we do that, let's throw it to you first, Tim. Do you have a score prediction for Wake?
So I know we're coming in at +4.5 here. Like I said, I'm a pretty optimistic guy.
Yeah.
I'm seeing this today. I'm hoping our offense can figure something out here. And I do think it's going to involve both quarterbacks. I think we're going to win in the trenches on both sides. Our defensive line, I think, is going to hold them, put pressure on. I'm expecting to see some sacks out of Jermaine Johnson. I think it's going to be relatively low scoring on Wake's end. I could see this being maybe like a 14.
Really?
I'm thinking like a 14-28 FSU win here.
Wow, look at you.
Yeah, you know what? I'm coming out bold. Like I said, I'm an optimistic fan here.
Right.
But I'm confident about that. I think this is going to be a convincing win, and I think we're going to bounce back. This is going to be a testament of who Mike Norvell is a coach today. Like you said, can we do this 2 losses in a row? And if we do, I don't know where we're heading after that. But if we bounce back, that's huge.
Yeah. What about you, Andrew?
I'm definitely not as optimistic as Tim.
Yeah.
That he's out there. I respect it. I like it, Tim. I'm gonna go.
Always been this way, though.
I'm gonna go 24-21 Noles. I'm gonna hope that they get it right because I'm hoping that the attitude in the locker room is like, hey, we just got to put it behind us and we got to go out. Like, there's still 10 games left in the season. There's still a lot of football to be played. And, like, if you win this game, like, yeah, it is a very big deal, like, especially for Mike Norvell because we went into Notre Dame kind of on this downswing. And then as soon as the Notre Dame game happened, we kind of tilted a little bit up and you saw, hey, like, this is what the future could be. And then after the Jacksonville State, we went back down again. So can we teeter back up? And I think that this is a place to do it. And if it doesn't happen, we might be talking about what's going on with Mike Norvell's contract at some point this season, which I really hope doesn't happen because I really do like him.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but there's no doubt a lot of fans would turn in that direction just because the common fan is going to be so reactionary in these sorts of things. As far as my prediction, though, it looks like you guys are going to force me to be the realist here and to bring the show down a little bit. I'm not confident at all. I think Wake's a really well-coached team. I think they have a lot more experience than us. I think they're going to throw the ball a lot. They're going to play some pitch and catch. And after our DBs last week, they could bounce back, but I just think they had a really poor game. They didn't have a good week of practice. I'm going to go 35-24 Wake Forest. And at that point, I don't even want to think about what's going to happen next. But let's move on from that. I don't really want to dwell on my prediction. I should have gone first so that you guys could bring up the show.
I know, yeah. Jeez.
Let's jump into some picks against the spread here for these top 25 matchups today. I'll start it off with a game I'm pretty interested here, and I think you guys are definitely going to have some insight on this. Let's go to Alabama at Florida in the Swamp. We've got the Crimson Tide favored at 14.5 here, going into Gainesville to take on Dan Mullen and his unknown quarterback. Let me throw it to you first, Andrew. What do you think about this game?
All right, so my prediction is solely based on Dan Mullen getting his head out of his ass and finally deciding to start the right quarterback. So in the event that Anthony Richardson comes out and is the quarterback, and I've been very scared of Anthony Richardson since he was in high school. I've known that like this day was coming, and it's very scary that it's today. That being
Where's he
said,
from?
he's from Gainesville.
Okay.
Yeah, so he is his Twitter handle is like GVO Ant, like Gainesville's only.
Yeah.
So he wants to put it on. He wants to like make his name out there, and I think he's very capable of doing so. I'm buying the atmosphere in the swamp. I've been to games there. I have an Urban Meyer cereal box right there. It's the lone Gator paraphernalia that still exists in my room. I'm gonna take Florida 14.5. If Emory starts, I think Bama blows the fuck out of them now. That's the disclaimer.
Yeah, I agree with that. As far as your last comment about Emory, and I'm leaning towards Emory starting just based off of things we heard from Dan Mullen this week. While the media, they were all hyping up old AR-15 down there, it looked like Mullen was really trying to get them to back off that and saying he wasn't ready. Now it could be mind games. He could be getting Saban to prepare for the wrong guy. But if you take his comments at face value, it sounds like they're going to stick with Emory. That's the main reason I'm taking Alabama by 14.5 in this game. And, if they do end up going with Richardson, I'm not going to be concerned about my pick. I still don't think they're going to be able to score the way Alabama is. The environment's going to be interesting. I'm sure they keep it close through a quarter and a half or maybe the entire first half. But I see Bama pulling away. I think Bama 14.5 is a good line. I probably would have taken them, I don't know, all the way up to 17 points. I think that's a good line. I think the Tide are going to be fine, especially on defense against these Florida QBs. Tim, do you have any side on this game?
So when I heard Mullen say that Richardson wasn't ready to go,
Yeah.
he's not going to start him, I thought, wow, this guy's an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Emory Jones is not going to win that game for them. No doubt in my mind. UF is going to lose that if he's at the helm the whole game. My thought was, he talked about Richardson not being ready and not having a great grasp on the playbook, and which makes me think that Mullen's kind of trying to take this game and he's going to get a little bit creative with Emory Jones. We're going to be seeing a lot of funny play going on out there from UF. Because honestly, I think he realizes that they're not going to beat Alabama with physicality. They're not going to be physically stronger, better, or faster than Alabama. If they're going to win this game, they're going to need to throw in some trick plays in there. They're going to need to get funny, and that's where Emory Jones, being there longer, has maybe a grasp of some of these out of the box plays that they don't use every day, that they haven't brought out yet. If they're going to win, they're going to need to get creative. They're going to have to get crafty out there. I'm confident in the Alabama plus 14. It's minus 14. Sorry. So my pick stays with Alabama there. I really think UF, if they're going to somehow pull this off, it's going to have to be some real crafty play out there. So sticking with Bama on this one. I don't think they're going to be able to pull it off. I know the atmosphere in a game like that in the swamp is going to be crazy. That's a loud stadium. I've also seen a few big games there, and I just don't think it's happening. You're not beating Saban. Not that UF team.
I agree. It's just I've sort of had a rule the last couple years where even if it's a spot where the public is against Alabama or, you think you might have some sort of edge against them, you just don't pick against Saban. It's simple as that. You don't pick against him and you're going to stay winning. So let's move on from that. I'm watching College Game Day here on the side. We've got Auburn at Penn State today in the whiteout. I think it's going to be a really fun game to watch, especially speaking of, these exciting college football atmospheres. I'll throw it to you first, Tim. What do you think? We've got Penn State favored by 4.5 over Bo Nix and the Auburn Tigers.
Is it just me, or is Bo Nix like a seventh-year senior? I feel like
it feels like he's been around, and it feels like he hasn't done a damn thing the whole time. But we've been hearing his name for years.
I know. I don't think Auburn's going to walk in there and win in that atmosphere.
Yeah.
I mean, this is huge this week for them. I mean, I think Penn State's walking away with a W. I really don't think Auburn's going to be able to walk into an atmosphere like that and take a win.
Okay, so you're on the you've got Penn State by 4.5.
Yes, I do.
I'll throw it to myself here. Yeah, I don't think that line's big enough, so I'm there with you. I would have taken
7.
Penn State. Yeah, at least a touchdown. I would have put
Yeah.
Penn State. I think a lot of that is coming from the fact that Auburn has scored over 50 in both of their first games here. But you're looking at who was it? Tulane and Troy, who they played. I mean, the competition there is not legit, and
No.
I don't trust Bo Nix at all. I mean, you touched on it a little bit there, Tim. I don't think he can play, and I especially don't think he can play on the road in this type of environment he's going to face. I've got a stat here that Bo Nix on the road in his career, he's got 10 interceptions compared to 9 touchdowns with 54% completions. And none of those road environments are the way that, this game against Penn State is going to be tonight. I don't think they're going to score at all. They're probably
Wow.
they're probably scoring less than 10 in this game. And I think Penn State can move the ball on them, which is a sort of a hot take considering Auburn has scored so much in the last few weeks. I don't see it happening with Bo Nix. That's the main reason for my pick. I think he's a good quarterback to fade on the road. What do you think, Andrew?
I'm in complete disagreement with both you guys. I think Bo Nix and Auburn are gonna win this game. I don't know why. Everything points to Penn State winning this game, but for some reason I'm buying Bo Nix stock. My friends and I have like a hot take account, and I'm convinced that somehow, some way he's gonna end up being a top 5 pick in the NFL draft this year. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that at all.
Okay, yeah.
But I just think that like he's gonna have a Mitch Trubisky type of rise in his senior season that his stock is just gonna elevate. And you've already seen it with the stat padding in the first 2 games. But
yeah,
he's definitely played in loud environments before. Obviously the whiteout game is different. But I really do like their new coach a lot. I think he's a lot smarter than Gus Malzahn and understands kind of how to take advantage of different situations coming from Boise State. I think it's a trap. Like you guys mentioned that the line's so low. Like I think it's only that way because they want you to take Penn State, and it's going to be Auburn that comes out victorious. And I don't really have any other explanation for it. It's just for some reason I believe in Bo Nix.
So
I just think that's ridiculous.
I'm looking here, Christian.
Yeah.
I'm looking here, and I see an over under at 52.5. So you're telling me I should take the under since Auburn's not going to score?
Yeah. I'd smash that under. I'm looking at this game, and I'm seeing Auburn in the 7 to 10 point range, and Penn State in the low to mid 30s. They could score less than that. I don't think you're going to see a lot of points in this game because Penn State's not going to need to score a lot of points in this game. They're going to sit on that ball, especially in the second half. So let's move on here to another top 25 matchup. This one I'm pretty excited about. I'm not sure how deep you guys have gotten into this, but I've been watching a lot of Fresno State this year because their offense is so exciting. And this week they're going up against number 13 UCLA. UCLA is at home. They're favored by 11 points against Fresno here, and the total is 63. Andrew, do you have any thoughts for us on this game?
I got Fresno State plus 11.
Okay.
I do like what they've done so far. UCLA is interesting because Chip Kelly's brought out the visor this year. So obviously he's a whole different animal out there at UCLA than he has been in years past. So for that reason, I'm gonna take Fresno State. I still think UCLA wins outright. I think they're the better team. I really like their quarterback, Thompson Robinson. I'm gonna go with the Bulldogs.
Okay, yeah, I'm on the Fresno State side here. Definitely plus 11. I'm tempted to sprinkle money line on them because I think they could score like nobody's business. They've had some health problems with their QB. He came back last week, but I'm not sure he was 100%. So I'm gonna probably stick with the plus 11. and the over 63. I see a super high scoring game here. And, you know, to give props to UCLA, they're up to 13 now. That's probably one of the last things I expected preseason. I didn't think Chip Kelly was going to get anything rolling there. But I think the buck stops today with him when they run into the buzzsaw of the Fresno State offense. Tim, you have
Yeah,
anything
so
for us on that game?
What are you saying, Andrew?
oh no, never mind. Ignore me.
Yeah. Unlike you, Christian, I can't say I've watched a whole lot of Fresno State this season so far. So I can't speak too much to their offense.
Sure.
You throwing on the money line is kind of crazy, though. That's.
I'm thinking about it. I'm not quite there yet, but
right.
I mean, it's a Pac-12 after dark, 10:45 p.m. Eastern time.
Hey,
You know, I might be feeling it.
anything
Once it
happens in
rolls around.
Pac-12 after dark,
Yeah.
man. That is some crazy games.
Yeah.
So
All
I'm
right.
looking here. I see an over under 63 here. Yeah, I could see it being a high powered offensive
Smash
game.
the over.
63. All right.
Yeah.
I
will.
mean, I'm definitely going with. I'm taking UCLA on this. Minus 11.
Okay.
I really just think they're a stronger team, but
Fair. Yeah.
But no, you got some good
UCLA
points about the
later.
high-powered offense. So we'll see. Should be a good one. I'll try
right.
and stay up for it.
Yeah, we'll see if you make it there, Timmy. So some other interesting games we got today. Let's jump down to our other in-state rival here. We've got Michigan State taking the trip to Miami Gardens there, just about an hour north of Coral Gables. We've got the Hurricanes favored by 6.5, and it looks like we've got a total of 57. I'll jump in on this one first. I'm taking Michigan State plus 6.5 all day. I probably would have taken Michigan State to win if I didn't know any better. I see Miami coming off that 2-point win to Appalachian State last week, and of course the beating they took against Alabama to open the year. I don't think Miami's very good. De'Aaron King has looked like, to me, nothing like what he was before his ACL last season. And I think Michigan State has been putting up a lot of points this season. I think this is the day where Michigan State actually moves on to 3-0 and is going to end up being ranked. I look at them beating Miami here, and probably within the 4 to 7 point range. You know, they could beat Miami by a touchdown. So I'm going to be happy to take them plus 6.5 as the underdog. What do you think, Tim?
Well, I kind of agree with you on, Miami came into this season with way more hype than they should have had. De'Aaron King,
just
not looking like, yeah, of course, yeah, they always always come in overrated. But De'Aaron King, extreme talented quarterback, is not shown it this year so far. A 2-point win to Appalachian State, beating by Bama. I can forgive the beating by Bama.
Sure.
It's not a team when they take a big loss. Traditionally, after they take a big loss, there goes the rest of their season.
Yep.
They're not showing like they're going to be a powerhouse this season. A game like this, I could see this being I could see this swinging Michigan State's way, really. I really don't think Miami's that well put together this season. Everything I've seen so far has been, barely hung on to Appalachian State.
And you know what? For me, I'm going to keep bringing it back to De'Aaron King, because I think when you're throwing for barely 200 yards, exactly 200 yards versus App State, and you're running for less than 100 as De'Aaron King, that shows something wrong. I mean, that's not the same guy he was last year. That's not the same guy he was before he was at Miami. And we know before they had him, this was a team that was losing to FIU and Louisiana Tech. He's the guy that made all their difference so that, they won any games at all last season. So I'm going to say he's not the same guy, and Michigan State has been super impressive. But let's see. What do you think, Andrew?
All right, so I'm gonna continue to go against you guys. I got Miami minus 6.5. I think they figured it out today. I think it's a really, as we were talking about Wake and its importance, I think today is equally as important for Manny Diaz and Miami there. Obviously didn't start off the season the way they wanted to. Lucky to get a win last week, but I think today they really need to make a statement to show that, hey, this thing's moving in the right direction. For all the issues that they've had, they still do have some decent talent. I think Derek King, with another week of practice, another week removed from his surgery, I think will only continue to get better. I do like Michigan State. They have been a lot better than I expected them to be this year. Mel Tucker's done a really good job there. I think it'll be a very interesting game, but I'm going to lean with the Canes here. I'm not going to say it's because of home field advantage, because that's not a real thing for Miami fans. But I'm gonna give Miami the edge here.
Okay, well, look at that. We've got Andrew coming on the show and picking both of our in-state rivals today.
I also picked FSU today, so like you got.
All right, yeah, you know what, you got me there. I can't talk. All right, let's toss it over to Tulsa at Ohio State. Ohio State's coming off that really surprising, at least from my point of view, loss to Oregon last week. You know what? Where their defense just looked awful. You know, they couldn't stop a thing last week. Oregon had their way with them. And this week they're trying to bounce back. We've got Ohio State favored by 24.5 points against Tulsa. I'll go ahead and get us started on this game. I'm going to take Ohio State by 24.5. Last week, I kind of made myself look silly when I said Ohio State will, just by stepping off a bus, scores 40 points. They ended up not hitting that number against Oregon, and my over on the game lost by half a point. I'm going to double down. I'm going to say today against Tulsa, Ohio State steps off a bus, and they're scoring at least 50 points just by showing up. Tulsa's no good. They're 0-2. They're not Power 5. And I think more so than that, Ohio State's going to be looking to redeem themselves. There's a couple of things here. I mean, they need to refocus after that loss after Oregon, and I'm sure they're going to do that because they're a well-coached team. But I think they're really looking at their playoff prospects now and getting one of those good spots. You know, they don't just want to be the fourth team. They want to be the first or second team in that seeding if they make the playoffs. I think Ryan Day knows they need to go out there and whip every team left on their schedule, and they need to, you know, get those style points to get where they want to be at the end of the year. That's not lost on them at all. I think they're going to go out there. They're not going to take their foot off the gas. They're easily going to beat Tulsa by 35 or more points. So I'm going to take Ohio State by 24.5. What do you think, Tim?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and agree with you on, you know, Ohio State's going to be the dominant force in this game. Unless Tulsa can learn from what they see last week. I mean, Oregon's just that one play where they were just I think they scored 28 points off it or something crazy where it was just pitch
they
out
just
to the
kept
flats
hitting him the same way.
And then receiver came in and gave a block, runner up the outside. Ohio State couldn't learn it.
Yeah,
they gave it up every single time. I'm sure they fixed that. I mean, I'm sure they looked at the film and said, wow, we got beat in the same play every single time. So I'm sure they've learned from their mistakes. They're clearly superior, physical, coached. In every aspect, they should be a better team than Tulsa. FSU should have been a better team than JSU. So, you know, it can happen. But, you know, I'm 24. I see 25.5 on one line here.
I'd take you.
Ohio State's got it. It should be locked down. You're talking about the playoffs. You know, it's funny. Now, I feel like they could lose another game or two, and somehow, some way, someone in some front office is going to give them some more points, and they're going to somehow make a 4 spot in the playoffs because that's just what they do every year.
That's what happened last year. And
you had to play 10 games. No.
Until Ohio State doesn't have it.
Until Ohio State doesn't. Oh man,
to your point
rich.
about Oregon really taking advantage of Ohio State in the coaching matchup and beating them on the same play, and Ohio State not being able to respond. That's worrisome for Ohio State moving forward. But they're playing Tulsa today. They're going to bounce back. Tulsa, they could have Bill Belichick out there. It doesn't matter. I'd take Ohio State by 24.5. They need this game. They need it for images, and they need it for their own, morale and to get back to where they thought they were before. It's an easy 24.5. But
it's a bounce back game. It's a confidence booster for them.
Yeah, exactly.
They'll get it.
I had Ohio State minus 25.5 written. You said 24. I'm gonna go with it. I
Yeah.
don't really need to add anything.
I got
I
25 and a
do
half here too.
I do want to jump in though. The game that really sticks out to me today is a noon
Okay.
game. Cincy, Indiana.
That's a good
So
one.
this line
Yeah.
screams trap game. There's no reason the way Indiana's looked and the way Cincinnati's looked that Cincinnati should only be -4 on the road. And I also saw a stat earlier that like their last 5 games, Indiana is 4-1 against the spread against top 5 teams or top 10 teams, one of those two. So with that, I'm taking Indiana. I'm buying into Tom Allen. I think this
Wow.
is a very big game for them. I had Cincy before, but like that line to me, like it's one of those lines where like when you're looking at all the games, it stands out to you. And so I'm gonna do what Vegas wants me to do, and I'm gonna take the other side there. But I'm interested to see what you guys think.
Yeah, so this is not a game that I'm actually betting as one of my picks because I don't have a great feeling on it either way. For the show purposes, I what I lean towards is Cincinnati by at least 3.5. I think they can pick that up. I don't think that the Indiana that we saw last year with all the excitement and the hype and the camaraderie and the around Tom Allen is what you have this year. Um, I don't think they have the guys to keep up with Cincinnati. I especially don't think they have the quarterback to keep up with Desmond Ritter. So just looking at this game surface level, I think Cincinnati by 3.5 is a good pick. They're a better coach team and they've got a better quarterback. I don't have much more insight on it than that. I will give a shout out to DJ Matthews for his punt return touchdown for Indiana last week. It's good to see former Noles prospering while we lose to Jacksonville State.
Yeah,
Bittersweet.
No,
Yeah.
no, happy for him. That's awesome. That was an electric play right there. I'm pulling Cincinnati here. I mean, they kind of got. I like what they got going with that team. I don't have too much insight on Indiana. I really think Cincinnati's going to be. I've liked what I've seen out of them so far. They're an electric offense. I'm pulling them 3.5. I feel good with that. I could see it being a touchdown.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the one thing, Andrew, you have going for you here is there is noise, obviously, around Cincinnati and their coach going to USC. So we'll see if they let that impact them. I just don't expect it.
Yeah, it's a very suspect line. That's really the only reason
Yeah.
I kind of brought
Yeah.
it up because it doesn't feel like Cincinnati should only be favored -4. I agree with what you said that in Indiana this year is not the Indiana we saw last year.
Yeah.
Shout out once FSU target quarterback Michael Penix Jr. Yeah, I'm interested. I think this is a very big game for Indiana, and I think that they could come out and surprise a lot of people because a lot of the public is on Cincinnati, and this is kind of where Indiana made their name last year, and so we'll see if they kind of revert back to that trend this year or not.
Okay, so we've got another pretty interesting matchup here kicking off in a couple hours at noon. We have 15th ranked Virginia Tech as a 2.5-point underdog to unranked West Virginia. I'll get us started on this game. You know, it's kind of funny to see the number 15 team as the dog to an unranked West Virginia squad here. I'm not going to let that, cloud my judgment. I'm going to take West Virginia. I'm kind of off Virginia Tech. I know they beat UNC to start the year, but they've always been good in season openers, and then they've always kind of dropped off in the Fuente era. I'm not a fan of Justin Fuente. I don't think he can get the job done, and I do think that West Virginia can put up enough points here to, if nothing else, run away from Virginia Tech and outscore them. I don't think Virginia Tech has the offense to keep up. I think they're overrated, and this is an easy pick, actually, for me to take West Virginia by 2.5. What do you think about this one, Andrew?
Well, today is also the West Virginia home field drop.
Okay.
And so I had Virginia Tech plus 2.5, but I got to follow the country roads and I got to take West Virginia here just because of that.
Yeah, no better reason to put your money on a team, right?
Exactly. They got a great song. It's a great song.
Any thoughts on that, Tim?
This is going to be a hell of a game. I'm excited to watch this one. This is going to be the noon game that I'm going to get after today. Not in terms of betting, because you know what? I'm not too confident either way here.
Okay.
I don't feel comfortable putting money on this one, really.
I can't blame you.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch, but I got no I want to venture to say West Virginia, but I'm not confident either way. So I'm going to go with West Virginia on this as my pick.
All right, we'll take that. And there's only one more game that I wanted to bring up here, man. We'll see what you guys have left on your card. But we do have Notre Dame. They're down to number 12 now, hosting 2-0 Purdue. There's a whole drama around this game. I don't know if you guys saw it, where Notre Dame won't let Purdue bring the world's biggest drum into the game. So basically, Notre Dame has a tunnel where the drum could easily fit through, but they won't allow it to happen because they I guess, require all the Purdue team band and paraphernalia to come through the Purdue visitor gate. And it's caused a lot of drama between these two fan bases, which has been really fun to watch online. I never knew that Purdue had a Twitter presence the way they do, but I've enjoyed seeing it. As far as the actual game goes, I'm taking Notre Dame by 7.5. Purdue's 2-0. They're not a bad team by any stretch, but they're certainly not Notre Dame. And people will point to Notre Dame having their close win versus us and then scraping by Toledo last week as a sign to bet against them, to say this is a week they finally get upset. I don't see it happening. I look back at Brian Kelly's time there, and we've seen it multiple times where they start slow and they scrape out some games that shouldn't have been close, but they turn it around and, they really start to hit their stride as the season goes on. I don't think they're going to be in midseason form at this point, but they're going to look improved, and I think they could easily beat Purdue by 10 or more, so I'm taking them by 7.5.
All right.
Tim?
Well, let me start off by saying Notre Dame is scared. All right? they would let that drum come through that entrance if they weren't scared. Yep, that's all I have to say. Point. Listen, they're going to get petty here. They're going to do stuff like that. They're scared. All right, 2-0 Purdue coming in, looking pretty good to start the season. And you know what? Notre Dame, you said Purdue is not Notre Dame. Notre Dame is not Notre Dame, all right? They're a shell of what their rankings show that they are every single season. They get the benefit of the doubt. They get all these crazy high rankings every year, and they're never that good. All right? Occasionally. But this season, come on. Overtime win against us. Toledo, I think this is the week. I think there's going to be this is going to flip Purdue's way. I really believe it. So I'm betting with Purdue here. I don't think I think Notre Dame's going to finally be put in their place. I think their luck of the Irish is going to run out on this game.
I'd love to see it, and I do love to see it coming from our own resident Irishman here. So, Ruxin, what do you think about this game?
You kicked off this discussion by bringing up the drum. I love the pettiness that exists in college football. I really don't think you see it in any other professional sport. And for that reason, I'm taking Jeff Brom. I'm taking the Boilermakers. I'm riding with Purdue. I wouldn't be surprised if they win outright, but 7.5 after they're not allowed to bring their drum in feels like free money. So I'm riding that all day. I believe in the Boilermakers, and I think they're just there to ruin the Irish this season, and I think they can do it.
I tell you what, if somebody told me I couldn't bring my drum in, I'd be pissed.
I'd be pissed, and I want to beat the brakes off them, because at the end of the day, if they can look back and say, hey, if we let this drum in, we could have solved so many issues for ourselves, it's a no-brainer.
Hey, no one touches my drum set. That's all I got to say.
Very well played. Well, that's some good insight there. I didn't know that we'd be putting so much of our money and stock into the Purdue drum today, but I guess that's college football, right?
It's a big drum.
It's a big drum.
It's a big deal.
It's the world's biggest.
The world's biggest drum.
All right. Do either you have any other games you want to throw it to here?
I got one game, and it's kind of just out of curiosity. It's the Virginia UNC game. We got
Okay.
UNC -8 right now. Over was 66 last I saw. I'm buying stock in the Tar Heels. They're wearing their throwback uniforms today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think they're gonna right the ship today. But UVA has been very impressive so far this season. Definitely, Bronco Mendenhall has his boys right. And I think it'll be an interesting game to watch for sure. It could end up being a lot closer than 8. I'm just gonna stick with UNC there, but I'm interested to see what you guys think.
Yeah, and you know what? Virginia has actually had North Carolina's number more than almost anyone else in the ACC over the last half decade, last few years. So it could definitely happen. They're playing well. They're undefeated. And I think Bronco Mendenhall is a good team. I think those guys play hard for him, similar to the team in Wake Forest that the Noles are playing today. You know, if nothing else, they're going to be well coached. They're going to be in the right spot. They're not going to make stupid mistakes. So it's definitely a tough matchup. I would not have given North Carolina 8.5 in this game, but it's also not one I'm going to be betting on my own book.
Yeah, I can second that. I'm not really willing to put money on this. I think my emotions are getting in the way of. I would love to see Sam Howell lose. It's a great feeling. It really is a great feeling, and yeah, he's a legit quarterback. But when it comes down to it, I don't think he's as good as he's been made out to be. I could definitely see this swinging the other way. You see UNC walking home holding that L. So
yeah, no doubt about it.
But like I said, I think my emotions are a little bit in play there. I'm not going to be betting on that game. Just two things you don't mix together: your money and emotions. So
wise words, Timmy Bags. All right, boys. Is there any other games you wanted to chat about here before we jump into one last segment?
I got nothing else.
All right. Well, last thing we're gonna do is we're gonna have each of us throw out a money line sprinkle today. We're each gonna take an underdog that we think could be a good bet to take an upset. I'm gonna start us off with a game we already talked about, one that we had some disagreement with. I'm gonna take Fresno State on the money line against UCLA. I made up my mind. I'm bunkering down. I'm taking that late night West Coast action. I think Fresno State's going to score a ton of points. And I don't know if UCLA is ready to respond to finally getting a lot of attention and a high ranking, which they haven't had in the Chip Kelly area. I like Fresno State here. I think they're just going to straight up outscore them in a shootout. Let's throw it to you, Ruxin, for a money line.
I mentioned both of them already. My two picks to throw a little sprinkle on today are Florida and Auburn. It's worth a shot. Florida's like plus 460 or something like that. If you throw $10 on that, it's not a bad penny to earn back. And then Auburn, once again, I'm fading the white out. It'll be interesting to see how that game goes. I think it's going to blow up in my face, but you know what?
That's okay. Too. Yeah, definitely two money lines I would have stayed away from, but you're a bold man, Andrew. You got anything for us there, Tim?
The money line I'm going with, and it all comes back to the drum. Money line Purdue, man. Money line Purdue. I'm taking it. I believe in it. I really do think it's time for Notre Dame to be put in their place. And Purdue's a decent looking team this year. I like what they got. They're exciting. So I don't think Notre Dame is it. I don't think they got it. You know, they came in and everyone's talking so much about them preseason, like every season. It's nothing new, but I think this is it. They're going to lose. Purdue's taking it. Book it.
All right. Yeah, good stuff. Thank you, guys. We had just to close out the show. We had Ruxin, our closet Gator fan, Andrew Levine here. We had Tim,
not a closet Gator fan.
Tim, the self-hating Irish.
Very clearly, you can tell by my room now. It's no longer orange and blue.
All right, guys.
So you gotta.
No, Christian, there is one thing I do need to add. I did promise I would do. Listen, it's game day.
Are you gonna give it to us?
And listen, game day is about intensity. I'm sitting right now in Stuart, Florida, and what I would do to be in Tallahassee right now, getting ready for a game day. 3:30 game, I probably would have been up at 5 a.m, ready for it, getting going, or still up from the night before. So high tea, high energy. We're bringing it. We're gonna start this day out right and do what I can from Stuart, Florida here. So
All right, baby, let's see it. We'll close out the show with a Timmy Bag shotgun.
all right.
Give us a little toast, a little go Noles.
All right. Well, hey, to a successful day, to beating Wake Forest, to Purdue beating the Irish, to Alabama winning today, to Michigan State winning today. Cheers. Go Noles.
All right, thank you guys.